All right, welcome to the first of its kind, world-changing manufacturers network. Lisa Ryan has her ears to the ground and her heart in the game. Get ongoing education and new connections right here with Lisa and the Manufacturers Network. Buckle your seat, listen, and spread the word. Here's Lisa.
Hey, it's Lisa Ryan. Welcome to the Manufacturers Network podcast. I'm excited to introduce our guest today, Mary Cecile Neville, or MC for short. MC serves as the Director of Content at AMT, the Association for Manufacturing Technology. AMT is also the organization that produces IMTS. So MC blends technology and creativity to push the boundaries of branding and storytelling in the manufacturing sector. So MC, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So share with us a little bit about your background and what led you to doing what you do at AMT.
I went out to Colorado after college it was supposed to be for one season. It went on for a couple of years and taught skiing and worked at the golf course at Telluride, Colorado. And then I came back to the area of DC and sent a blind resume. It was faxed back then to Snow Sports Industries America, which is similar organization to AMT actually, where we represented all the brands and manufacturers of ski, snowboard, outdoor gear, cross-country snowshoe. And I worked there for 18 years. And skiing has always been a huge passion of mine. And so I was very passionate about my work at SIA. And a lot of us had been there for 20 years plus. Our president, David Njimi, was amazing. And then they moved the organization out to Park City. So a lot of us, I don't think any of us stayed. And I moved on to Plastics, the Plastics Industry Association, which hosts the NPE show, which my colleague Bonnie Gurney and I just went to the other week down in Florida, which was quite fun because I worked there as Senior Director of Marketing Communications. So I worked on the NPE 2018 and saw a lot of old friends. And it was spring 2021 during COVID. And I had met Bonnie Gurney and Michelle Edmondson, who are here at AMT. And they've been here for 25 years. And I would see them at different trade show industry outings. And Michelle contacted me and we were chatting because we had just canceled our NP 2021 as AMT had to cancel their 2020. Yeah, IMTS 2020. And Michelle said, "Are you looking for a job?" And I said, "Funny, yeah, I think I am." And so she brought me here. They were starting a new department, or we were starting a new department at AMT, content. And so I was brought on to be director of content here. And I have to say, my friends even said after a few months, they said, "You sound like you're more passionate about manufacturing technology than ski and snowboard." And I've said this to a lot of people, and I said, "I think you're right." So I got here.
Awesome. So I saw a quote online where you actually quoted Julia Child saying, "Find something you're passionate about and keep tremendously interested in it." So it sounds like that you pretty much summed up your career with AMT with that. But really, how has this philosophy guided your career, particularly now in the manufacturing sector?
I love Julia Child. I love to cook, and my husband, son, and our close friends have been incredibly fortunate to stay at her home in Provence twice through Airbnb. It's too expensive for us now, but we got it really early. And so I've always loved that quote. And I think I've always said in life, for me, I want to be happy. Health, of course, is important. Laugh and enjoy life. Life's too short. And there've been things, obviously, with COVID, that was a lot, but I've had a close friend whose daughter died last year from colon cancer. And it just really puts things in perspective as she was 16, how short life is. And work is life. I know it's Ted Lasso, the guy, I forget his name, with the shaggy hair. He said soccer is life. And I know work is part of life because we do it so much. And so the best way is to find something that you're passionate about. And I feel incredibly fortunate. And I guess you would say my second act, I don't know, to be with AMT and IMTS and this incredible manufacturing community, because the people are incredible and incredibly passionate and just good people, the technology is just mind blowing. And since I've joined AMT, my son, who will be 11 in June, and he'll be at IMTS this year, he came to IMTS in 2022, and he's now said ever since that he wants to be an engineer. So it just melts my heart.
And that's part of the conversation, is exposing younger people to manufacturing and technology so that they do have those desires to join, because that's really the only way we're going to change the conversation and bring younger people into it. So obviously with your son, it worked.
Oh, absolutely. And it's been fun. When my husband and son came to IMTS in 2022, it was, the exhibitors could not have been more incredible and opening. Execs were speaking to him and taking time, and it was just an enjoying it. And we walked by the FANUC booth, and there was this guy, Dean, that said, because I wanted to show Max the Corvette gets lifted up by the robot. And this guy, Dean, said, "Hey, does your son want to learn how to program a robot?" And I looked at it and I said, "Yeah, sure." And so this young woman, Stacy Haramoto, who's with FANUC, and she's amazing, came over and taught my son how to program a robot. And it was just the coolest thing. And he was so into it, and she was incredible. And then spring of last year, my colleague, Stephen Lamarca, who he's on our series Road Tripping with Steve and writes for our magazine and our Tech Trends podcast. I asked him if he would come with me to present on career day to my son's school, because I needed someone cool. Because my son said everyone he loves, and Steven's amazing with my son, and my son adores him. So we went and presented to 2 fourth grade classes and a first grade class. And FANUC actually sent me all these model robots for the kids. And the thank you notes, that handwritten thank you cards that we got from my son's classmates were incredible. And they had drawings of, Spot from Boston Dynamics, because I had that that robot in one of the videos, and they had drawings of the FANUC robot with the Corvette and the FANUC robots that they had been given. And there was one of Max's classmates who she said that she had always she had wanted to be a chef, and then after our presentation, she's decided she wants to be a scientist. So I just thought that was cool. And she was in 4th grade at the time.
Wow. For the people who aren't familiar with IMTS, talk a little bit about the show.
It is the largest manufacturing technology show in the Western Hemisphere, every 2 years on even years. And we gather in Chicago for 6 days, starts on a Monday. And we represent all the sectors of the manufacturing technology industry, and obviously machining, CNC, work holding, tooling, cleaning. I'm not going to remember all of them right now because I don't have the list. And then, of course, everything moved in with automation, robotics, additive manufacturing, software. So we have, colleagues don't hate me for this. I think it's 12 sectors. I'm in content. I'm represented for manufacturing technology, and the companies come and they drop their technology, and the job shops come, and the industry come and gather. And it's an incredible week of seeing the technology. The exhibitors are selling their technology and seeing what the future has. We also, each show, I think it's since 2012, Bonnie Gurney has led the Emerging Technology Center, and Bonnie's the Vice President of Strategic Content and Partnerships here at AMT. And she's done some pretty incredible things with the Emerging Technology Center. And that's a space that showcases what's to come in the future of technology. And this year is very exciting because 2024 is actually the 10th anniversary of building the Strati, which is the first ever 3D printed car. And it was built at IMTS in 2014. And Bonnie put that together with Jay Rogers of Local Motors and Lonnie Love when he was with Oak Ridge National Laboratories. And so there'll be actually an exhibit there this year, but that's another very cool thing at IMTS. And then another piece of it, which is a huge, and just what we were speaking about, is the Student Summit. And so we host the Student Summit, and that is also for 6 days. And kids, teens come from all over, college age students, to the summit. Exhibitors have booths down there. There are different speakers, a number of people like Drew Crow, Megan Ziema, Tony Gunn will do things, and Chris Lukey do things in the Student Summit. And it's a place where kids come through and they get to see the amazing world of technology. NASA will be there, Boston Dynamics. There's a lot of different exhibitors. And again, it just opens their eyes to this whole kids are about cool and technology and manufacturing is cool.
Yes, it is. It's definitely different from the days when I was in the welding industry where it
Yes,
was everything your mother ever warned you about.
exactly. But look how amazing you are for doing that and being
Yeah,
helpful.
and things have changed, have turned around quite a bit. So let's take a look at AMT. So, as the director of content, what are your primary responsibilities? And then, how do you approach the challenge of making technical content engaging and accessible to a broader audience?
Let's see. I'll go with the second part because I remember that first. So finding making technical content engaging, it's about the people create the stories and the pieces that we do. And AMT as a not-for-profit organization is different, competing with the media companies, the publications, the Gardeners. They in the GIEs and Global Specs, they do the technical content. That's what they really get into. We do talk about, obviously, we highlight technology, and that's what we do in our role. In the pieces and content that we develop here, a lot of it's the people behind the technology. But sometimes not always, but we'll start with a person and then talking about the technology that they're creating, they're developing, they're working on, the changes that are happening because of that technology with our world, our future, every day, things like that. And so I had never been in quote content. I think it's a new thing in the last, I don't know, 6 years or so. I was always in marketing and communications, PR, which is content. There's a lot of content there. So, it basically is. And it's been amazing. The people and the partnerships that come out of finding and discovering this content or being introduced to it's fun. And I've learned a ton and I have so much more to learn. I feel like I'm the UK Daily Mail, which I do love, of technology because I can talk the three bullets up at the top, and then but the deeper down, I'm getting there.
I know I feel a lot that way with this podcast when I have people on that they're talking about things that I just don't understand. And saying, can you say that in layman's terms? I almost need it at a first or second grade level, and then I can get it. But I always figure if I have these questions, then other people that are listening want to know the same thing, and maybe
Absolutely.
they don't want to ask.
And that's funny you say that because I will say when I first started at AMT, I was quite intimidated, and not because everyone was inclusive and welcoming. And I truly love to, and I don't know who will listen to this, but it's not because my colleagues and president might listen to this. I love AMT. It's a unique place, but the people are so smart here, very smart. And so starting at AMT, and I didn't know anything about manufacturing or technology. I put a lot of pressure on myself. They did not. They were amazing, but it was intimidating. And I remember I asked for a meeting with Pat McGibbon, who recently retired a year ago from AMT, and he was our chief knowledge officer. And I said, can you tell me about manufacturing and technology? And he was telling me about digital twin and generative design. And I was writing notes as fast as I could. And I don't think I understood those notes and probably still don't fully. It must have been like 2 years later.
Yeah, I get it. So you also have a strong background in digital technology and development. So how have you seen the digital transformation influence the manufacturing industry?
So that would be on digital space for me would probably be more on the marketing side, but being though in manufacturing technology since with it joining AMT in July 2021, excuse me, I've just seen personally, and I don't coming from the outside in this groundswell of change with digital technologies, automation, what's coming down on to the job shops, the companies, how it is changing our future. It's again going back to the technology. I can't speak directly to that. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I can, but it's my UK Daily Mail style. I don't know the technical details enough about it. Yet seeing what is happening in digital technologies in manufacturing, I think that is a huge draw for younger people that is creating again this want and interest in manufacturing technology that we've been looking for in the workforce in this next generation, because they're all about digital and they've grown up with digital. And so I think I see that to be very exciting.
Yeah.
And what it's doing for efficiency and companies and job shops and things like that, and safety and everything else that goes along.
Oh, absolutely. What are some of the emerging trends that you're most excited about from what you've heard or what you've seen in developing and collecting all of this content?
Oh gosh, you put me on the spot. Let's see. Automation, additive manufacturing. When Stephen and I presented to my son's class, the school last year, and I had the video and actually my son had seen it. A YouTuber had seen and tried out the EOS Wilson Sporting Goods basketball, 3D printed basketball. The kids couldn't believe it, because then talked to them about how the NBA had played with it and this kind of thing. I think the just different, new, unique, future forward opportunities that can happen with additive manufacturing, and whether it's in something like a basketball, or it's with hybrid machining, or it's with defense, space, automotive, anything, medical. I'm very excited about that. Machining, what's going on and what continues to happen with 5-axis machining as part of our Emerging Technology Center. There's something with Oak Ridge National Laboratories that will have something to do with 5-axis machining that I can't really talk about right now. but come to IMTS and everyone can see it. It's secret right now. It's everything. And then what's going on with software and metrology. Again, I'm going to UK Daily Mail that one too on metrology. But being at AMT and working in content and working on some video series that we do, whether it's our Manufacturing Explorers series or Road Tripping with Steve, or we interview leaders in the industry, you get to see what's happening and what's to come and how this technology is affecting our future, whether it's with sustainability, that's happening too, and closed loop technology, which was a big part at plastics that you would, learn about. I also love seeing, and I love telling my son and talking to him about this, about how technology has always been, obviously, it's in every part of our day. But I feel like the stories, and not just with us, with everything, it's coming out more of Gran Turismo, the movie that was about the video game. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw it. It's very cool. And part of it, they do this thing where the kid's playing the game, or he's on the, Formula One course, and they do this overlay on top of the race car, and it's all technology. And it's it's amazing. I went off on, I don't know where right now with this. And you asked me what to pinpoint it, but I'm excited about everything. It's been 2 years since an IMTS. There's been a lot of change in the industry. I'm excited to see it, and see what the industry has to show off, and what our next future is going to be.
Yeah, you keep thinking that, man, with everything coming, with all the technology that we have, we should be getting to the end of it. And yet it explodes again and again and just keeps going to, I can't even imagine what things are going to be looking like 2 years or 5 years from now compared to what it is, because we are living in the olden days.
Yes. And they talk a lot. I've heard, people talk about how fast technology is moving now. And when I started, it was fall of 2021, and I was at an industry conference, and I think it was actually Modern Machine Shop's Top Shops Awards they were giving. There was a man that won the award and got up there, and he said, and this was in October 2021. He said, I've been in manufacturing for 36 years, and it's never been more exciting than now. And that was almost 3 years ago. And that was pretty cool to hear. And so I used to tell people that a lot, and tell, college age kids and things like that, because it's true, just like what you said.
Or studying for jobs that haven't even been created yet. So it's just, and I think there was that quote back, what was it, the late 1800s or early 1900s, where they almost closed the patent office. They wanted to close the patent office because everything that was going to be invented had already been invented. Type of
It had been
thing.
done. It was over. We hit our cap. Oh my gosh. How many
Yeah,
patents are there now?
it's crazy now. So let's take a little bit more in the leadership and culture, because I know you emphasize the importance of balancing productivity, stress, and humor all within the workplace. So what are some of the examples? And it sounds like you guys have a really fun team to begin
Mhm.
with over there, but how do you foster this type of balance within your team?
I guess one, I'm not sure if I do. I don't, gosh, that's a good question, Lisa. I try and I hope that I am by bringing in humor and fun into what we do. I think it started out when I worked at Ski and Snowboard. We had a global show every year, every winter, and it would get very stressful, as all work does. And it does here with IMTS. And we had worked together for so long and we would just laugh a lot. And I know that might not be the culture at some other places, but we turned stress into humor and it worked. I know there's an audience and a place for that. The older, I've recognized that. Maybe not when I was younger, but I try and I think keep that in the back of my mind. There's stress everywhere and so much more stress nowadays than I think there was with everyone. And also, you never know what's going on with people's home life or outside of their work. And I think to recognize that people have other lives beyond work and there are things that are stressful and things that affect them. Empathy is a big piece. I try to be very empathetic because I want people to be empathetic to me. I think it's an incredibly important, and your work space is all about relationships. And I ink magazines like Daily Newsletter, and they've been all about emotional intelligence for months. Not that's been it's a new thing, but I think people are seem to be more aware of that now. I don't know if it's because of COVID or it's because we're back out one-on-one or in person. I read a report, I can't remember where it was or when, but it was sometime last year that talked about how young people are craving in-person events. And it was talking about trade shows and conferences and meetups and things like that, because not just because of with COVID that they went through, they're also on their phones all the time and they're behind that digital space. And so they want that in person and that empathy and that realness. I don't think that's the word, but so I think I try and hopefully it works, put to my team how I would want to be and how I want to be treated and feel. And again, there's definitely stress that comes up and there always is and always will be. Like you said, we're so fortunate here at AMT. We have an incredible leadership with Doug Woods and Peter Eelman and Travis Egan and Amber Thomas and others. And it's just it's a good place and people are decent and they care about one another. And then everyone's passionate about the industry. And that goes a huge, what am I trying to say? The long distance, huge distance when you're working with people who are passionate about the industry and what you're working on.
And I talk about that a lot in my programs, that it's not get away from talking about when you're looking at people, hiring people of here's the job responsibilities and here's the pay and the benefits, all of which are important.
Right.
But here's why we're passionate about what we do. This is why I do what I do. Or even at IMTS or any other industry trade show that you're involved in, there is no better way to bring people into that passion than to be around people who are passionate about that industry. In my speaking business, I think about all and I just have to say the word weird associations that we get.
There's one for there's an association.
There's literally an association for everything. I was speaking at the Scaffolding Association. And I was talking to this guy, and he said something about asking me about my speaking business. And I said, if there's a weird association, chances are good I'm speaking at it. And he looked at me, he goes, are you saying we're a weird association? And I looked at him, I said, dude, everybody on the planet except for you thinks you're a weird association.
That's great.
But the point being that no, unless you are in scaffolding, Nobody else on the planet thinks about scaffolding. These people are so passionate about it and it's fun. And I met like the number one mesh salesperson in the world who
Wow.
sells mesh to scaffolding. But that's it. Spring manufacturing, foam manufacturing. If you look around, not if you're driving your car, keep your eye on the road. But if you look around, every single thing that you're looking at has been manufactured by somebody, and there's
Yes.
probably an association by it. And with IMTS, we're really focusing on the technology, but even the most mundane things on the planet, there's people who are passionate about it. And we need to start bringing that passion into all of our workplaces because that's really what's going to attract people to come to work for us.
Absolutely. I could 250 whatever percent agree. It's so true. It's yeah, and going back to, I can't remember, you asked me a question on something. I've always, I think the Julie Child quote. I wanted to work to live, not live to work type thing. And again, trying to find those jobs or people or within the organizations or things like that are passionate, because you said, again, that's what drives a company and organization industry forward. I believe
Yeah.
it's the passion. And back to scaffolding, people should recognize we couldn't have buildings without scaffolding.
Yeah.
We couldn't have a lot without scaffolding.
Yeah, we couldn't do a lot of what we do without without things that are made by organizations, made in manufacturing by manufacturers. So, what are some of the best practices when you've been collecting data when it comes to workforce? You mentioned emotional intelligence. Are there other things that you're seeing that the best organizations that you're working with are implementing?
I mentioned David and Jimmy, who's our president at SIA. It's Snow Sports, and then Doug Woods here at AMT. And they're very similar in the way that their vision for the organization, incredible passion for the industry and for the people who work here and worked at Snow Sports. I feel like that is an incredibly important part of the culture. Collaboration is huge. I try to be a collaborator on most everything I do. One, it's more fun for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I know it depends on the person and the what is it, the Myers-Briggs, whatever. But
Right.
for me, I find it a lot more fun and interesting. And I learn a lot more when I'm collaborating. So collaboration is key. And I read an article a year ago. It was Apple. I don't want to quote it. It was Tim Cook, but it was Apple. What they look for in executives, and collaboration was one of the top. Collaboration, empathy, fun. You got to put some fun in there. Passion, EI, flexibility. That came out of COVID. Is the
Definitely.
Acceptance of flexibility, understanding flexibility, the need for flexibility, whether it's for family matter, personal matter, mental health matter, and acceptance. I think that's another acceptance and inclusivity.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're getting to the end of our time together, is there anything that you wish that I had asked you and I didn't? Or any final thoughts?
What's my favorite city?
What is your favorite city?
Paris.
It is lovely.
I've been, I don't know, Francophile, Parisian in France. I don't want to say obsessed because that sounds a little stalkish, but passionate, I'll say, for everything French since I was, I don't know, 6. I don't know why, but I have. I used to think I was French and then found out I'm not, but sadly. But let's see, what else? Oh, I don't know. Let's see, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay, let's see. What is your favorite thing to do outside of podcasting and work?
It's so funny because part of what I do, it's so incorporated into what I do
Yes.
that I love to travel. So speaking at
Ooh.
conferences all over the country, I kind of joke around the fact that my husband is having a really good travel year because I got to speak in Napa in March and I'm
Oh,
speaking in October in Hawaii in October. So
oh my
Scott's
gosh.
been traveling with me, but I live in Cleveland, Ohio, and just the metro parks, we've been going on walks outside, just going. I'm a big reader. I told you I love listening to podcasts
Love it.
and just hanging with my friends. But the nice thing is in the industry that I'm at, it's so nicely goes with life because, a lot of my I have speaker friends all over the country. So when I travel, I can go visit and spend time with friends. And so it really does. And now that my husband is in a job after the pandemic,
Mhm.
changed jobs after 13 years from a
Wow.
company that was sucking the soul out of him
Oh,
to a company that believes everything you said, flexibility. He's working from home today.
love it.
He just loves it. He feels respected, he feels appreciated, and he can travel with me. And I think that's such a big part of making a happy life that we do work to live and live to work. Sometimes in these
Yes,
days they're
I
so
agree.
mixed together that and it's good that way.
And actually, when I said I never wanted to live to work, but I agree with you because I have found something I'm deeply passionate about and love. Work travel is fun and working is fun. And there is some living part to that for sure.
If people would like to continue the conversation or find out more about IMTS, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Probably LinkedIn. Mary Cecile Neville is how you can find me there. I'll be at IMTS, of course, and traveling around some. LinkedIn is probably the easiest because I
Okay,
seem to check that. Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
Absolutely. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. Thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, I love it. And we will have to cheers with some Napa wine at some point because I do love that too.
Me too. I'm Lisa Ryan, and this is the Manufacturers Network podcast. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Manufacturers Network podcast. Do me a favor and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues so we can grow this network and connect more fantastic folks just like you. You can either send your buddies to the website at manufacturers-network.com or share the Manufacturers Network podcast on your LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or wherever you and your industry friends hang out. The bigger and faster we grow the network, the stronger and deeper the community we'll all have. Thanks again, and I appreciate you.